Hello everyone, my name is Michael Young and welcome back to Factorio using the C-Block mod pack, our new 0.16 factory. Isn't it grand? Okay, so... we're out of power here, so things are about to slow down. Right now we're still very reliant on burning fuel in order to keep our factory moving at speed. But these are actually backing up a little bit because mineralized is maxed out, but not here. This is having trouble loading because of inserters. But that's fine. If this does back up, that just gives us more slag that we can turn into landfill. Eventually. I'm also continuing to, well, we need far more iron for that to work. I'm trying to continue with our production of more windmills in order to reduce our power reliance on the fuel. Yeah, just keep this going for a little bit. Because we need full power in order to be able to generate the fuel fast enough to keep us at full power. It's a vicious cycle that we've known before, and hopefully we'll be able to work our way out of as we continue to build more windmills. They're still flashing. I don't know why they're still flashing. It's annoying. But yeah, if you look just like at our windmill production over time, it's hard to see the incline on a small level because it's so bouncy. But you can see we've clearly been laying out more windmills over time. But we're only meeting about half of our demand for power at the moment. Because this just burns through real fast. And placing more of these won't help, unfortunately. Well, maybe it would. Maybe placing more of these would mean that a greater portion of our power is being used to generate fuel, as opposed to being generating metal. But we need the metal, so we're kind of stuck. It'll solve itself though. In time, we'll just... Every time we place a windmill, we're moving that much closer to not having to worry about windmills. To fuel independence. Look at him spin! Oh, zoomy. That's gotta be a bug, but it's a fun bug. As long as this has enough. Oh, we just picked up a ton of... Oh, it's accumulating in this faster than we can pull it out. Ooh, okay, that's part of the problem. And every day we get a little bit more landfill. What am I looking for? Saffron. I did that backwards, didn't I? Yeah. Yep. This absolutely needs fuel. Sorry, I'm kind of just going around keeping everything working. Not actually expanding anything new. We should look towards the future and see what we're going to build next. Look at that burn through, 60 already. So next well, should we keep on going here? Maybe do this better? I think I would like to do that better. More space in general would be really good. Like, we need to get out our, what am I calling? We need to get out the brown algae again so we can start producing boards and circuits. Okay, we're keeping ahead of that. And that amount of power will do it, right? We're maxed out. Yeah. No, only just barely. We're still having lots of trouble depending on what the windmills do. Because we just consume so much power now. That's driven purely by power production. Yeah, we're getting lots of landfill. I mean, this is a very net positive production. Every moment that passes, we're getting a little bit better. Every day in every way. Alright. But look how fast that burns. Wow. It's just starting to accumulate there nicely. Yeah, our fuel production's good. We just don't have it all hooked up right. So we could go ahead and, if we had, like, if we could do some sort of priority splitter right there, we could build more power production over here and make sure that everything goes this way first. We don't have splitters yet. We need to deal with that. And we just keep getting tons of copper. Relatively. We need more steel. What's with this? It's bouncy. That's from our algae farms? That are maxed out now? Mostly. So I need carbon and mineralized. I'm almost inclined to try to... Well, no, this is not 100%. This is way below 100%. We're just not able to feed that well enough. We'll put this back together. For a little bit, until we start having problems again. That'll get our minerals out faster and we can build more windmills. Okay, I want to double this, but I want to do it better. It's difficult because I'm not sure what this final layout's going to be like. But, well, no. Before we do that, we should probably get some more science. Let's go ahead and do some science. We had this here. We're constructing it by hand, but we could do it in a couple of these. It takes so long to make those. We should make a lot more of these and just get some basic circuit production going. That's more important, I think. Even if we just had to feed it algae ourselves. Just because it's tedious having to wait for circuits to be done. Look how long that takes. Let's figure out the ratio. Like, how are we gonna eventually want that set up? So this is starting with brown algae. Pull it up. Go like that, sure. Okay, so... Okay, well, there's another step before this. Oh. So we produce saline from a water treatment plant, a hydro plant. So 150 water produces 20 saline in 1 second. And these have a speed of 1, so that makes it easy. Weird. They're not used to seeing that as a technology. Interesting. I can just take 1,000 water and turn it into saline if I have water treatment 3. That would be so much better in a salination plant. Doesn't even need any. Doesn't even need like salt added in or something. And this creates saline water too. Then mud water to get saline. Interesting. That's different. Anyway, this is what we're gonna do for now. So we're with the saline, we're gonna take 100 saline to produce 40 brown algae in 30 seconds. And something that has a speed of 1. So we need 3.3 saline per second, which means one of these plants can support can support 6 brown algae plants, but we're never going to use 6 brown algae plants. In practice, one of these will be support however many we need. So that's 1.33 brown algae a second. We're going to use the brown algae to create alginic acid, right? Yeah. So 10 brown algae is 2 alginic, and I think this is the same as it used to be. So I apologize because I know I probably did this back in my first series, my first playthrough of the 0.15 C block, but I'm too stupid to remember it, so I need to work it out in my head. This is done in this assembly machine 1s, so which are 0.5. So each one of these assembly machines takes 0.5 algae a second, so 2 of these will produce as much alginic as we need. How's this doing? It's fine. Just top it off. It takes time though. It takes a lot of time. And you take cellulose and combine it. So 4 cellulose and 1 alginic yields 1 pulp in 4 seconds in a thing that takes 0.5. So a single one of these, we're only producing 0.1 alginic per second. So it's 1 per 1, pretty much. Did things just slow down? It seemed like this slowed down. The noise in this changed. Maybe things are backed up? Ah, fuel problems. Okay, back to this. So we just made the pulp. We're producing, well, since we don't have that much, we're gonna have, well, it doesn't matter. It's 1 for 1. Well, let's do it right. So we're gonna actually have, not this. We'll have 4 cellulose. We'll have the right amount of cellulose. We'll make sure we do. But we're not gonna have enough alginic. So we're only producing 0.1 pulp. Yeah, it's the same number. 0.1 pulp per second. And what we do with the pulp, wait a minute, what do we do with, we can make solder with alginic acid too. We're gonna need to do that eventually, but not yet. This pulp step is new in the paper. Okay, so it's 3 pulp to make 1 paper in 4 seconds, and something that's 0.5. In practice, we're only going to be getting 0.1 pulp per second. So we're only producing 0.03 paper? Really? That's really bad. Per second? Wow, that's terrible. Maybe we do need more brown algae plants. Might this work? I always put it in the wrong one. And yet it somehow still works. It accepts the wrong one. So we just said it would be brown algae into alginic acid into pulp. That's simple enough to do. And the pulp, no. Yes, it's the pulp part of it that needs the cellulose. Just to get some pulp going, we'll add more steps as we can. Okay, let's turn this off. Now we're not getting enough mineralized for our algae farms anymore. I like the ridiculous numbers on the electric poles, because technically I can produce infinite number of wood bricks just by sitting handcrafting. So it's just limited based on the number of copper I have. The amount of copper I have. Go ahead and just handcraft a few of those. That's running low. We're not producing enough. Okay, back to this. So after paper, one paper becomes 2 wooden boards in 4 seconds in a standard assembling machine. So, and we're actually in practice producing 0.03. So we're going to be producing a ridiculously small amount of boards per second. Let's assume we're going to be able to let's assume we're going to be able to produce both of these. So we think that a single well, no. So a single saline thing can in practice hold 6 of these. Let's say we do 4. So we're actually going to be producing 4 times that amount. Where do we grab that? We don't. Why am I saying I'm gonna get 1 alginic? That's the wrong number. I made a mistake there. Okay. this should say we're going to be getting 1.33, or brown algae. It should be like this line here. We're actually getting 1.33, which means we're going to be producing 0.266 alginic. And this will be using that, which will produce almost 0.1 pulp. But let's say we're gonna not have just what am I saying? Not just the output of one of these. We're gonna have the output of 4 of these, so times 4. And we'll have to keep up the proper amount of cellulose to make that happen. So that'll be producing 1 pulp per second, which will be almost 0.7, a bit over 0.7 wooden boards per second. That relies on having 4 things producing brown algae, which we can do off 1 water treatment, but it's gonna need more of this of the cellulose. So how much cellulose will that need? That will need that divided by that times that. That will need 4 cellulose per second. Now when we did cellulose, 2 of these, 2 farms and liquefiers produces 2 cellulose fiber a second. We're saying we're gonna need 4. So I need to have basically a whole thing that looks just like this, that'll just be feeding these green algae into pulp. This is gonna be messy. How are we gonna lay this out? Always do it wrong. Fine, we'll just swap them. Here, this will be where the stereotype is. Because we always do it wrong, so why resist? We ran out of power. Of charcoal. Okay, so let's just think about this in our heads for a moment. We're talking about making 4 algae farms making green algae, which will need its own support base. You'll need it will need 2 electrolyzers, one ore crusher, one liquefier, and we'll probably want to make it so it's self-consuming, self-sustaining. So we probably want to have 8 algae farms, and then 4 of them just produce the charcoal they need for it themselves. So let's double that up. That'd be 8 algae farms, 2 liquefiers, 2 ore crushers, 4 electrolyzers. We'll need... This liquefier is going to be producing mineralized. We're going to need 1 liquefier. We don't need 2 liquefiers producing mineralized. We need 1. 1 per 4. Well, no. Okay, that's fine. 2, 2. Liquefier is producing CO2. That gives you the 8 algae farm producing green algae. Alright, I think that will produce 4 extra cellulose, well, it'll produce a bit less than 4. It'll produce like 3.8 cellulose per second. In excess of what we need to self-sustain. So, to match that, let's see. Let's actually figure that out. It would be, we don't need that much alginic. But what were we saying? We were saying 4. 4 is a good number. I like that. Keeps it nice and simple to think about. So we're gonna need 4 algae farms producing brown algae, and those will each be feeding alginic. Wait a minute. So what we said each algae farm can keep 2.5 of these busy. So we'll need 8 assemblers making alginic, and those will be feeding, what's this ratio? 1 to 1, right? That much alginic to that much pulp. Wait, it might not be, because this is so much faster. We'll need... We'll need 8? Sure. Let's go with 8. We'll feed 1 to 1. It's close to 1 to 1. 8 assemblers. Is that right? Now I'm all doubting. Alginic. So 1 assembler will produce 0.125 alginic a second. We're going to have 8 assemblers producing alginic. It's too late at night for me to be thinking about this, right? Let's just assume that's right. We're gonna need 8 producing alginic and then 8 producing pulp. Is that right? That can't be right. No, it's right, because I reduced it all to per second. So we will need that much divided by that much. 8 of these producing pulp. And then, okay, I need to fix that right away. I should make that self-load, but I don't trust it. I want to make sure we have enough carbon being produced all the time. Must be a windy day. Everything is... Well, no. It feels like we're actually consuming more power than usual. That's not good. That's all of it, isn't it? That's all of our brown algae converted into cellulose pulp. That's not a lot of boards. Like, I don't think I'm thinking I'm being too demanding here. We don't have the boards to make these, to make all the algae farms. But we can make that happen. Let's just clear out a little bit of space. Can we just fit it here? That's not a good place for this. This won't be where it finally goes, but this will be a place for us to mess with it and make sure it happens. We definitely need another one of those. I can't even get to it. It's too far out there. It works. Liquefy the purified. How are these doing on power? They're fine. Fuel. Every way. Every day and every way. So just in the past hour, our wind farms have fluctuated crazily. Wait a minute, we turned them off. Our wind farms have not really gained any ground, even though we placed 7 or 8 extras. But that's okay. It's all adding up. It'll all add up. It'll all work out. It's gonna be amazing. I've seen it. Looks like we're having trouble with mineralized here, so let's close that off again, as per usual. These burner generators are interesting. Production of power without water. I'm not sure I get them. Efficiency 0.25 versus efficiency 50. So clearly no, we're not going to bother with them. How does that work? How do you produce energy without water? I mean, even like nuclear power is all about heating up water and using it to spin turbines. I don't know. Keep building this, please. Need more alginic. So even if we're not where we want to be at power, I can at least be content that if we hadn't been doing all this work to try to get the power working, we would be in a worse spot. So I think that kind of works out. Let's go back to this. So we were saying we're going to need 8 assemblers making pulp, but I find myself questioning my numbers right now. Let's just make sure I understand the ratio again. I'm sorry, I need to look it up again, just to make sure I understand. So, let's see. Producing alginic is 2 every 10 seconds. But it takes 20 seconds in practice because our assemblers suck. So each assembler one assembler produces 0.1 alginic a second. And then we use alginic at the rate of 1 every 4 seconds. Or 1 every 8 seconds. Turn into pulp. So the ratio of this to that is the same as that to that. So for every assembler making alginic acid, we need 1.25 assemblers turning that alginic acid into pulp. So this would be 8. 8 times 1.25, or 10. And 10 assemblers making pulp. Will produce 1.25 pulp, yeah, per second. So 1.25 pulp per second, which is very different from what I'm seeing here. I don't know why I kind of got lost in the numbers here. 1.25 pulp per second. 1.25 pulp per second will require 3 1/3 assemblers to make paper. So let's do 4. 4 assemblers making paper. And 4 assemblers making paper will produce 0.5 paper. And so we need 0.5 paper a second. And we use paper at 0.125 per second, so we're going to need that divided by that. We're going to need 4 assemblers, turning that into wooden boards. And that will produce not quite a wooden board a second. That's a lot of stuff. That's going to need a lot of power. But I would like to at least start building a few of these things. just to make my life a little easier. So we can have this taking the pulp. I need some more of those. What's the next step? So pulp becomes paper. Make paper. And then paper becomes boards. This is so terrible the way I'm laying this out right now, but it will suffice. Power's messed up. Because power is extremely demanding. Okay, and once we've done that, what's the next step? More iron, of course. After we have wooden boards, which is way down the line from here, we use them to make circuit boards. There's nothing else they're good for. So copper cable and we need 2 more factories. 2 more assemblers. Why isn't that going? Because it's out of algae. It actually processes the algae pretty fast. I can't ignore it too long. Let me out. I somehow got stuck here. This is where I'll make the boards themselves. Where are they? Oh, we need 1 more to make the wire. Where is wire? There. Cable, copper cable. Alright. So as long as we hand supply brown algae here, it will keep on producing circuits for us. Let's put a limiter on that. We don't need more than, say, 600 circuits. It's slow. It's very slow, but I think we're still doing better than we did on our first playthrough. Knowing the idea behind some of the cycles is definitely a help. And now we have circuits. We have a plan for many circuits. That's gonna need so much space. Like, that's gonna be like all this area. This whole area is gonna be making circuits, and that's it. I think that's gonna have to be our long-term plan. We're not gonna get to that anytime soon. Okay, I don't know where we started, but I feel like we probably made, I don't know, 15, 16 windmills during that time period. And, of course, the circuits and some planning. I think that's enough for one part. So, thank you, everyone, for watching. My name is Michael Young, and this is Factorio using the C-Block mod pack.